go. Now I'm going to talk about Gina Gardiner, one of our longest serving members. I think probably is the longest serving member apart from me and my husband. And she has always talked about leadership, and she has always talked about overcoming problems and issues. And she is the legitimate person to talk about it because she has overcome so many incredible things in her life. In fact, sometimes she says to me, "How are you?" And I go, "Well," and I give her a good old whinge moan, like you do, and get it off your chest, which is what she was after for. So I can just do that. And then I said, "How are you?" And then she'll tell me something. I'm like, "Oh my God, my problems are like this big. And you're dealing with all of that." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." But you never hear her moaning, you never hear her complaining. She gets on with it and gets the job done. So I'm so delighted to give her some space at our meeting today to talk about leadership, Gina Gardiner style. Over to you, Gina.
Just share my screen, hopefully. Am I allowed to share my screen?
Should be able to, yeah.
Oh, it's not letting me.
Have you made her a co-host, Jill?
Normally you don't need to be, but I will do as well.
Okay. Right, let's see if it'll let me share now. Entire screen, window. It's not letting me share.
I'm just trying to, there we go. Let's make you a co-host then.
Okay. Let's see if it will. It's still not letting me share.
Is there not a thing at the bottom now, Gina, that says share with a green background?
Yeah, no, I've done that, but I'm getting choose what you want to share. I've tried the window, I've tried the Chrome tab, and I've tried the entire screen, but it's not actually letting me share.
Have a go, because I've literally only just turned on the co-host bit, so it might have been needing to click into place. Just have another go.
Gina, when you've selected what you want, look on the bottom right-hand side of that screen. Will have a share now button you have to do when you've selected what you want.
It's not letting me select anything other than this screen. That's the thing. I don't know. Technology and me, you know, it'll always be a pain in the what's it.
One of those days.
It's one of those days. If not, I shall do it without. But let me just see if it will come up again. Right. I don't know why it's not letting me share. Sorry, folks.
Jill, do you want me to test it and see if I can share? And
Yes,
then we'll
please.
know whether it's your end or Gina's end.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, let me see if that might work now.
Gina Gardiner sharing. Excellent.
Okay. So let me just get to let's hide that. Right, can you see the screen now?
Yes, well, no, we can see
the top bit.
Can you see my PowerPoint presentation?
No, we've just got a screen of everybody's name in the meeting.
Right, okay. Let's try. I can't even get back to Zoom now. Why is it playing silly bees?
If you...
Oh, dear. So, right, you're screen sharing. So I'm going down to where I want to share, which is what I normally do.
Yeah. If you stop screen sharing what you're currently sharing and then start again, you should be able to do it then.
Okay. Sorry about this, folks. Stop share.
Okay.
Right, let's see if it'll do it. Right, can you see my PowerPoint presentation now?
Not yet, no.
No. It might be better if you just start, Gina. It may just be a problem with Zoom.
Okay. Right, well, I want to share with you my story very briefly. I started off life as a teacher and was very quickly promoted. And I was promoted as the deputy head or principal of a large school to be the catalyst for change. And very quickly, we started to create a strategic plan for change. went off skiing in the February half term, and I had a really serious ski accident. And that was the start of a very different life. Over the next few years, I discovered that my mobility was really shot to hell. 4 months after the ski accident and having been paralyzed down one side, I became the head or the principal of the school. And I was determined that the young people in my care and my staff were going to have the very best start in life that I could give them. I ran the school for 20 years, and I ran the school for the most part from a wheelchair. And there was a huge gift in that. And the gift was that I couldn't physically get into the classrooms. And because I couldn't physically get into the classrooms, I had to find a different way of empowering my staff to not only take radical responsibility for themselves, but also radical responsibility for the performance of the team. It was highly successful. The school was on the best 100 schools in the country list twice during my tenure. And we were then invited to work with hundreds of other teachers and dozens of other schools to help them develop leadership. And I'd had a terrible role model in both the schools that I'd worked for, how not to be a good leader. And so for me, the combination of having to find a way of being a leader that did all of the things complete opposite of the heads that I'd worked for, but also do that without being physically behind people, nagging people, saying, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, to me was really important. And, you know, necessity is the mother of invention. I've learned to walk twice as an adult. And what I realize is it isn't the challenge that defines us, it's what we do with it. And so out of my challenge, I found a way of empowering people at a personal level and then at a leadership level. And I came to realize it doesn't actually matter what sort of leader you are, in the sense of, are you leading your family, a group, your business, the world? Before you can lead other people in an enlightened way, and for me that's leading with integrity, compassion, and the courage to do what's right rather than self-serving, you have to lead yourself first. And so what started as something that I had to find a way through became a unique approach to developing people and developing leaders. We are each the common denominator in our own lives. You take yourself every moment of every day into everything you do. And so doesn't it make sense for you to be the leader of your own life? And I was amused by Jill and that young lad. Wasn't he gorgeous? I could have eaten him. He was wonderful. That young boy. We all need to be more childlike and stop being so blooming childish. Too many people throw their toys out of the pram too often. And as a result, they end up burning bridges rather than building them. And one of the reasons that I'm so pleased to be part of this organisation is Jill has such a way of building bridges between people and getting people to work together. Now, I left headship in 2004 because of my health, but I wasn't ready for daytime television. I was working a 16-hour day, 5.5 days a week, because not only did I run my school, but I did a whole series of external posts to bring a budget into school because the budget was so awful. So I was an Ofsted inspector, a workforce reform advisor, a trainer facilitator at the National College of Leadership and the London Institute. And I had all of this experience and expertise, but what I needed to do was to stop working 16 hours a day in a very pressured environment. And so I took myself off to do a research project. And as a result of that, I worked mainly with corporates doing training and facilitation. And since 2008, I've worked generally speaking, with SMEs, helping them build their businesses, enable them to work with their staff in a way that creates a culture of learning, that facilitates people collaborating within the organization, having ownership of the vision and being able to deliver. And the result is that every business that I've worked with for more than 9 months has been significantly more productive and more profitable, but also better work-life balance for everybody, better relationships, because it's a holistic approach. And for me, enlightened leadership is all about that holistic profitability, which encompasses everybody being able to contribute their very best. Now, my first 2 books were written to be calling cards to the corporates. That's Kickstart Your Career, which is for people who are leaving the world of education and going into the world of work, and Manage Your Staff More Effectively. And that was just the first 2 books. I think I've got about 37 now, 2 of which are international best-selling sellers. But what I discovered in those first few years after I left headship and I was working with my first business, Gina Gardiner Associates, is I had a growing sense of purpose. I wasn't getting to enough people. And so I set off with Genuinely You, with the idea of reaching more people. Jill will know that I and technology have a love-hate relationship. You've all had a little bit of experience of my troubles with technology. I share screens all the time, do presentations all the time. Today it's not working, but there you go. Jill will let you have the slides, I'm sure. What I recognized is that if I wanted to reach more people, then I needed to do something with online. And at that time, I had probably 10 Facebook contacts, maybe 20 Facebook. I didn't have anything on YouTube. I'd never made a video. And I knew things had to change. And so part of my journey has been being prepared to be outside my comfort zone very significantly most of the time, particularly where technology is engaged. And I've got something like 24,000 LinkedIn connections. I've got some 1,000 Facebook connections. I've got a YouTube channel. All of these things which required me to learn how to do things that I didn't know what I was doing. And some would argue I still don't. For me, enlightened leadership, as I say, is around leading with integrity. You've only got to look around the world to know that we need more leaders with integrity, people who walk their talk, people who are the role model for others, those who want to make a positive difference and leave a living legacy in this world. And for me, that's something that really differentiates ordinary leaders to those who I call enlightened conscious leaders. I became more and more aware that in order for people to become enlightened, they have to know themselves. Now, I've done all sorts of things, and just for information, I've got a radio show that goes out to 3.2 million listeners a month. I'm now the vice chair of Fatima's UK campaign charity that's trying to revolutionise the care system. I don't do boredom, as you can tell, and I am a busy person. But one of the things that fills me up is that I'm busy with things that I feel have real purpose. I live my life with purpose. And more, I become aware that in order to be an enlightened leader, that we need to have, first and foremost, a really positive, loving relationship with ourselves. Loving, not indulgent. And that relationship with ourselves is about taking radical responsibility. I talked about that in school, and I'm going to talk about that with you today. Now, in my 20 minutes, I haven't got time to go into things in huge detail, but this is a real game changer. If you take radical responsibility for your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, and your words, it is a complete game changer. Why? Because the quality of our life is driven by the quality of our thoughts. Our thoughts become the reality, our perception. Our perception of everything we do is just ours. It's not the only reality, and yet we believe so often it is. Our beliefs are installed very early on in life, and we rarely challenge them. And if you're going to become and remain an enlightened leader, somebody who wants to live a life of true purpose, then understanding that if you want to change the quality of your life and the outcomes, you have to change the quality of your thoughts is a real game changer. What are your values? Do you know what your values are? And how do those become part of your life? Because having values is not about having a poster on the back of the reception area. It's about how you live those values. And if you imagine a horizontal line and your values are above the line, what are the behaviors you need to engage in or experience to know that those values are well met? And if you're dipping below the line, then the issue is how quickly can you get above the line? So a couple of small examples. We talk about respect, and I've been into so many companies where they talk about one of our values is respect. And yet in the coffee area, you hear people gossiping. How does that demonstrate respect? And for me, I always work with the senior leaders because ultimately it is them that have to show the way. It's them that have to show by example. Another example of showing respect is, do you listen? Actively listen, truly listen? Or are you so busy trying to work out the answer to the question that you're not really listening to what's said? And there are so many ways that we can go below the line in terms of radical responsibility because it's a pattern of behavior. And so if you take nothing away from today, apart from this, start to be the journalist in your own life. Start to look for the patterns of your thinking. 95% of our thinking is habitual, and it doesn't cross our conscious mind at all. So what are you thinking habitually? How are you speaking habitually? How are you acting habitually? Notice your patterns. If your patterns of belief are empowering, keep them. If they're not, it's time to change them. So over the years, what I've realized is more and more that we are spiritual beings. We are physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual beings. And I recognize that those leaders who become truly enlightened start to recognize and be aware of their spiritual power. And as a result, they unlock the door to unlimited possibilities. And I thought, how do I, again, get to more people? And so what I've done is I've created a free spiritual blueprint, which, if you like, is an audit around your relationship with yourself, how you use your intuition, your empathy, what legacy do you want to leave? And do you live a life with purpose and on purpose? And do you have a connection with that higher power, whether you call it God or the universe or Allah or Muhammad or whoever? Because when you really tune into that connection, that's when you're able to manifest the things that you truly desire. That's when you're able to manage mountains when you thought you could only climb molehills. And so my offer to all of you is a copy, free copy. I'll put the link in the chat. And you can download that. And it gives you an audit, really, some questions to ask of yourself to see, where are you in your spiritual journey? Where is your level of awareness? And how can you engage in a way that enables you to be a better version of you? Because all of us are on a journey where the best self of today is the foundation for the best self of tomorrow, and tomorrow's tomorrow, and tomorrow's tomorrow. Next week, I'll be running a free spiritual masterclass. It's 4 till 5:30, Monday to Friday. Again, it's free for everybody because I want to make a difference to as many people as possible. We'll be running this every 3 months, but the first one is next week. Again, the link will be in the chat. If you'd like to join us, then please do sign up. But you will need your spiritual blueprint because that's going to be the basis for the workshops. And we're going to look at it in more detail and look at ways to move you forward from wherever you are, because no matter where you are in your journey, there's always more we can be and more we can do. And I'd like to invite you not only to come yourself, but please do share it with your contacts so we can, just like a bee pollinating flowers, you can pollinate beyond and help more people to access this. I'm doing it for free because I want to access as many people as possible. So I've got some questions for you, which I'm going to put in the chat. And it's all about, where are you? What are you living a life with purpose? And I just want to make the differentiation between living a life with purpose and on purpose, because many people that I work with don't know what their true purpose in life is. And many of them think it's got to be this grand scheme. When the reality is, certainly in my opinion, that living a life with purpose, living a life consciously and taking action in a conscious way, whether that's eating a biscuit or looking at a tree or engaging with other people, when we do that consciously, it changes the quality of that interaction. And so, are you living a life with purpose? If you have a big purpose, then many people in this group, because the very nature that you're here, will be living a life with purpose. But if you're not, then the way through to it is to live a life with purpose. And remember, you don't need to be on a global scale. Just think about a mosquito in the bedroom at night, and you'll know that small things have a big impact. And just by smiling at someone, by helping someone, by being that little boy who starts everyone helping, you are leaving an amazing legacy for other people. So I'll put 3 questions in the chat. Thanks very much. I'm sorry about the PowerPoint. Jill, perhaps you'll let people have a copy of that, because there's other information in that, but I'll put the links in the chat. Thanks.
I've just put the questions in the chat for you, Gina. All right.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Alan.
Okay, thank you so much, Gina. I don't know about you. I mean, I've heard Gina speak many times. Thank goodness. I always take something new from it. I've just written reams again. So thank you for that, Gina. I really appreciate it.